Welcome to a conversation with Edita Tahiri and Dr. Edi Shukriu. September 13th, 1996, held at the Capitol Hotel in Beijing, China.
Recognized as a state, and we base this request on following arguments. Kosovo has 2 million Albanians, which represent 90% of population. Albanians are descendants of Illyrians, which means they are indigenous to the territory. Kosovo borders are well defined and ethnically defined, but also Kosovo has its own administrative borders, because Kosovo used to be one of 8 parts of the former Yugoslav Federation. Kosovo used to have the power of veto in all decision-making levels of the Federation of former Yugoslavia. Then Kosovo had its own constitution, then its own executive, judiciary, and other bodies which characterized Kosovo as a state. We also based our request for independence on the referendum, on popular referendum, which was held in 1991. Similar referendums was held in that time in Slovenia and Croatia and in other federal units of former Yugoslavia. In this referendum, 87% of the population participated, and 99% of the voters have voted in favor of independent state of Kosovo. And we consider that international documents guarantee the right of the nations to self-determination, and this could be enough democratic argument, that an overwhelming majority wants to decide for themselves, wants the right to self-determination. So these are the arguments.
Why do you think the international community has not recognized Kosovo's claim for independence?
I think there are several reasons. First, I would like to say that unfortunately Albanians of former Yugoslavia have never been known by international world as a question. These people have been always discriminated, and even Yugoslavia used to be open country in many aspects. Politically it was quite isolated country, and we Albanians never could come and see you and tell who we are. Whereas Slovenia and Croatia were more developed in this aspect, and they were not in fact discriminated, so they could make their links, let's say diplomatic links, and explain their questions to the world, which was not the case with us. Another fact is that we Albanians used to be part of Albania, but our motherland used to be isolated for 50 years, so also they could not speak on our behalf. And today Albania is trying, very strongly to the democratization, and their diplomatic activities share also the question of Kosovo. But I think it's not enough 5 years to explain to the world who we are and why we have been such hidden from the world for such a long time.
Albanians in former Yugoslavia used to be the third largest nation in the former Federation of Yugoslavia, after Serbs and Croats.
Yeah, and if you allow me, I would like to end also one fact. Kosovo is occupied by Serbia, and it has a date since 1989. And Kosovo can remain under Serbia only through the use of force. But other way, Albanian will never accept to live under Serbia or within Serbia, because I think after all we have experienced from Serbia during the history, but also today with this gross, abuse of the human rights violation, national and political rights of Albanians, I think that only the force can keep Albanians under Serbia, and all other circumstances will be better opportunities for Albanians to live independently and to decide for their prosperity. Not only Albanians, but also other former Yugoslavian nations are fed up of Serb domination. Since the occupation of Kosovo in 1989, people of Kosovo have, of course, tried to show their dissatisfaction of the suspension of Kosovo's subjectivity by going to the street and doing peaceful rallies. That rallies have brought many of victims, Albanian victims, wounded, killed and imprisoned people. So then intellectuals of Kosovo came up with the idea of forming the Democratic League of Kosovo, which is the non-violent movement of Albanians, led by President Rugova, and of course guiding principle is non-violence. Since then, which means 5 years now, Albanians are really trying with all means to avoid the war in Kosovo. But we think that this non-violent movement must be supported by international community. Otherwise, it's very difficult to guarantee the peace in long term.
Again, on behalf of Tycoon Galleries, I'd like to thank Edita Tahiri and Dr. Edi Shukriu for this conversation.